I always forget to start the timer, of course.
You can't forget to start the timer, guy.
I always forget to start the timer. I was pretty good. At least I didn't start at 5 minutes in.
That's true.
All right. Welcome back. Bleeding Blue. Probably going to be our best, most special episode yet. The one, the only, Jomboy is here. Renato, you know what to do. Clap. There we go.
I was like, what's going on?
Whenever something good happens, Renato loves to clap.
I love clapping. I love clapping.
Big clapping fan. I like that.
We're big believers of affirmation in this podcast.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. So little introduction on Jomboy, because why not? Even though he probably does not need it. Frankly, in my opinion, Jomboy and what he's doing with Talkin Yanks, if you believe that baseball needs saving, if you're one of those people that think that the sport needs saving, especially if you want to look at game 1 of the World Series ratings, Jomboy's overall vision for Talkin Yanks, I think, in my opinion, can frankly save baseball if you're of that opinion. And we're going to talk about his vision for Talkin Yanks, and he's the host of the best Yankees podcast. And I think numbers-wise, are you the second most popular Yankees podcast on iTunes?
Yeah.
What's your breakdown of it?
I don't. The numbers are so weird. You guys will find out as you delve more into this podcast world, like what numbers are reliable and aren't. It's very odd. Bronx Pinstripes, though, Scott and Andrew, they're super nice guys, and they've been around forever. I mean, I think everyone else is just jumping on board as the Yankees get good, which is, kind of funny. So props to them for Bronx Pinstripes, because they went through those awful years of, they're awful in Yankees terms. For any other sports team, those are still good years. But I think they're still number one. We're climbing. We had a good year. We had fun, a lot of fun. So that's good.
Yeah, guilty as charged for jumping on when the Yankees are good.
Well, everyone's jumping on podcasts too now, and they're so easy. That's why I like when you get in touch with me or anyone gets in touch with me, says I want to start one, like, just do it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And then I had no idea what it was going to become or what any of it, but it's fun.
First things first.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite questions that you and Jake ask each other at the start of each podcast. How are you? What's your mindset entering into this space right now? Where's your mind at?
I like that question. Don't you think that I must have stole that from another podcast? Don't you think that's important? Like,
yes.
Because you can talk to guys every day, and everyone's always in a mood. Like, if I talk to my girlfriend and I don't know that she's hungry before I talk to her, I'm going to spend 20 minutes trying to figure out what's wrong. What am I doing something? And it's like, oh, she's just hungry. I know that from the start. So like when I'm tired and silly or Jake's angry, it's just better. Like, let's just let the people know where we're coming from. I'm doing good. Mondays are like my sit down and work day. So I did 9 a.m., did the radio show, which we record for an hour. I edit it for an hour. I put it up. And then we're churning out so many podcasts. And it's kind of like, so I edited Talkin Huskies, which is Jake's new podcast, Talkin Knicks, which is Jake's. We have a Laughs from the Past episode coming out tomorrow that I made some samples for. I found out I have a deaf follower on Instagram, so I'm trying to put captions on all the videos now, which is really time consuming. But I did it on one video, and he DM'd me right away and said, like, thanks. So I was like, okay, it was worth it. But I'm good. When we're done with this, I'm going to go make some steak, because I have leftover chimichurri sauce that I made over the weekend. I'm feeling good. How are you guys?
Renato.
I got the Monday blues, I'll be honest. the school kiddies took a little hand on me today. But no, other than that, life is going good.
Mondays used to suck when I was still drinking a lot, when I'd spend my weekend drinking.
Oh, yeah, I 4 hours of sleep too, so that's not a good thing either.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm in DC with an internship, so I am very similar to you. I use your phrase, I'm a transplanted Yankee fan, for a little while.
Yeah.
So 9 to 5 life has been a bit of an adjustment compared to taking 5 classes and kind of just like chilling out throughout the day. Because now I have a 9 to 5 job plus a class plus a bunch of things. So I need to not just go home and relax. I need to actually do stuff when I get home too.
That transition's a little brutal.
Yeah. But We're doing good. We're doing it. The mindset entering into this space right now, into this intentional space, very positive. Very
I
positive.
like it. I like the positive affirmation. I like the getting the moods right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Sometimes Jake's like, I'm upset. I'm like, yeah, good. Everyone should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the rundown of things. I kind of told you this in the Twitter DMs, but just in case for those listening who are waiting to hear whether you think that we should sign Machado or Harper, or or can Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, can they pitch for the Yankees?
I just finally went off about that on Instagram, and I hate Instagram, but it's a good tool, and there's some people. Instagram I find is much more like YouTube. Mm-hmm. Where people just like leave a comment and then bounce. Where Twitter, people will do that, but it's much more like a conversation in the end, where it's normal to like respond. Where Instagram is much more YouTube commenty, so I like hate it. But we need to keep the Instagram active. So I just did that. They're like, why everyone keeps saying that? Can Machado pitch? Can Harper pitch? Like, no, Yankees can sign them and a pitcher. It's not like they're being put at gunpoint to only sign one. Sorry to cut you off.
No, but I honestly, in all honesty, I don't want to talk about any of that.
All right, that's good.
None of it.
I do all day.
Go if you don't already, which I highly doubt that you're a listener of Bleeding Blue, and because number one, I mention you and Talkin Yanks almost every Yankee episode.
Definitely, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, and I just highly doubt it that if you're not here and you don't know who Talkin Yanks is, you should. So go follow Jomboy on Twitter. Go subscribe to Talkin Yanks wherever you can listen to podcasts. And that's where you could find out Jomboy's takes on the Yankees.
Uh-huh.
But this is going to be a little bit more personal. This is going to be a little bit more in depth as opposed to that. So let's get into it right now, even though we already have been into it. But
I'm ready.
You mentioned that there's a ton of content that you're releasing, and there's a ton of content that you're kind of editing. And first of all, how come Jake isn't editing his own podcast? That's my question.
Jake and technology do not go together very well, and I think he likes that. Like he's like, I'm bad at it, I can't learn it. Like, come on. But I went to film school, so that's like my background, and kind of like I like it. It's very odd. My hobby is now my job. So my downtime used to be I'd work 9 to 5. I'd come home and I'd sit at my laptop and edit something for fun, or just doing videos while I watch TV. And now my downtime is the same as my work time. So I literally am at my computer usually from like an hour after I wake up to an hour before I go to sleep, unless I have to watch a show or spend time with my girlfriend, which I enjoy doing that as well. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but like, it's weird. So I like editing, but yeah, I would eventually, hopefully we can find someone that helps a little bit.
Intern.
Yeah. I need to figure out an intern, how it all works and all that. I have a problem. I probably wouldn't trust many people. Found a couple people that helped out I trust, but like we have people that want to like design the shirts like and everything. And it's like, I design those and I'm not going to trust you.
Right.
So even if you do it for me, I'm going to have to double check it, and that's more work. So I'll just do it. But that's on my end.
So from what I can count, I think it's 5 podcasts that are currently active right now. Now, you don't typically shout all of them out on Talkin Yanks. So shout them out for all those who may not know them.
I think it's more than 5.
Really?
Yeah. I have
bad research on my end.
No, it's just I don't shout them all out all the time because I'm very conscious of being annoying about that shit. All right, so Talkin Yanks, that's the main one. That's the big one. And then from there, I wanted to just talk about anything. So I made a podcast called Just Talking, which the first like 10 episodes where I'd take this big topic like the Emu War or recency bias or confirmation bias. I did a lot of cognitive biases because I think that shit's fascinating. Like when if anyone's listening or knows this, when you're holding a baby and you're like, holy shit, am I going to throw this baby? It's like, no, you're not going to throw that baby. But you get that thought and you're like mad at yourself. Like, why did I just think that? I suffer from that. Not a lot of people do. Only 30% of people do. So I might sound crazy, but I did like a whole thing on that. But anyway, Just Talking turned into now me and my girlfriend have fun, talk about like happy storylines, our lives. It's mostly because we both are living away from where we grew up. So it's for our families and they enjoy listening to that. But we have other people that listen as well. Laughs from the Past is the other one that I do that I want to become really big because Jake and I did Talkin' Yanks, and you have to be a Yankees fan to listen to Talkin' Yanks. And even at that, you have to be like a really tuned in Yankee fan. We go pretty in depth with some of our stuff. We try to keep it light, but I mean, it's weird because when like we know the entire 25-man roster and basically the AAA roster, and we just say those names like the listeners should know them as well. And like a lot of our family members would be like, I try to listen to it, but it's too much. Like, yeah, that's going to be too much for you. Don't try to listen to it. I appreciate it. That's nice. So, all right, what have I done? Talking Yanks, Laughs from the Past is a history and comedy podcast. We're in a second season right now. That's fully on the Civil War. I was a history major, and Jake has like no idea any of this stuff happened. So it's kind of the concept is like I tell Jake, and he's like, "Whoa, what?" That we have a lot of fun with, and it kind of makes my education feel worthwhile because I'm like reading books and doing research and shit. Then also we wanted to make a podcast that you could come in and know nothing about. So for the Yankees, you need to know the Yankees. For Laughs from the Past, it's just, hey, do you like hearing funny stories? If you say no to that, you're a fucking weirdo. Sorry if I can't swear, if you guys don't curse. If you like, who doesn't like funny stories? So that's what Laughs from the Past is. Let's see. Six Pack Cinema is me and two other dudes, John and Dave. We do movie reviews and Hollywood headlines. That's every Friday and Monday. I love movies. I like talking about everything. If I like something, I like talking about it. And then what else do we have? Talkin' Knicks. I don't host that, but I produce it and Talkin' Huskies, same thing. And then Jomboy and Jake Radio, we just started, which is daily. Because in the off season, we're like, well, we both committed to doing this full time, like taking huge risks to do it. It's like we better, if we're not doing content every day, then we're betting on ourselves pretty hard. It's panned out decently well so far. So we did that. And that's just like another avenue to talk more casually about things. And we do silly stories and more fun. Then there's some other offshoots. Like I did last year when I realized how easy it was to put a podcast on the podcast app, I just fucking did everything. Like me and my girlfriend watch Outlander on Stars, and we were like, let's do Talking Outlander. We did after every app. We actually got a ton of listeners, but we stopped it. We might start next week. I did songs because I like talking about music, but I felt like I wasn't qualified enough to be doing that, so I stopped. Glitch was another show. I have 10 on my list.
Wow.
But 2 I don't talk on, and 3 aren't active. So 5, you were right. 5 I talk on.
Oh, good for me.
There you go. Clap.
Affirmation. So
there's a long-winded response.
Yeah. No, but which one of these is, even if it's ones that you've kind of stopped doing, which one of these is your favorite to create content over or for?
It's a mixture, which is great because it gets everything out. I mean, Talking Yanks, it blew up, and we have like a listenership. Like that's the only one. The rest, we have a good base, but we haven't grown to like the first floor, second floor. We're Talking Yanks has now grown. So it's weird because every single show is me sitting in this chair and Jake's on my screen right where you're on my screen, and we're talking. It should feel the same. But for some reason, when we do Talking Yanks, me and him, I both said to him, I said, this feels like this feels different because we know we have an established audience, and I love the Yankees. I tried to do so many things for the last like 6 years to just try and put out stuff that people would enjoy, and I never did Yankees content. And it was like, well, that's what I love the most. So. I'm happy it's stuck. I think the offshoots we have to be very weary of, that we don't put too much time. My favorite Mark Cuban quote is, the main thing has to be the main thing. So Talking Yanks has got to be where we put all our energy and all that stuff. But I like the history stuff a lot because I like the research. It gives me a reason to read.
So you mentioned your college education. You mentioned how you like to read books.
Yep.
where did this kind of like desire and because I mean I can answer this, you know, frankly, where did my desire and want to create content come from? It came from partially you, just because of the intersectionality that's present between what you talk about sports and then also the humor that you bring to it.
Yeah.
Where you're not just so serious all the time about sports and it's everything's the end all be all and this is the end of the world and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also I grew up with YouTube and content creators on YouTube. So kind of like mixing all that in and then boom, you know, I'm here. So where did this desire and want to just create in general, not even just with Talking Yanks and, you know, the main thing, but where did this desire kind of start for you?
Man, that's a weird question. I never thought about it. And like I keep right now, I'm thinking back, and the first thing I can think of is, well, you know what it is? You say you grew up with YouTube. I grew up with Jackass, like the Jackass TV show and the home videos. And I never wanted to do what they did because I never wanted to ruin anyone's day or just too much of a pussy to actually do that. But me and my friends, I got a video camera when I was 14 or 7th grade Christmas. And me and my buddy would make videos, like really dumb videos. And I just send them to my aunt and my cousins in New Jersey. We were living in Illinois. And like they just laugh. And so that was cool. I mean, we did so much stuff where I made Jake make videos with me over the years. So I don't know. I mean, I find myself funny, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And if I was my only audience, I always say if my audience was just a bunch of me's and a bunch of my grandmas, I'd be fucking rich. No one finds me funnier than me and my grandma. And Jake's hilarious. And I mean, I've really been pushing for Jake, like you said, Grown Losers and all this stuff to do things with Jake. I don't know. I just always like doing it. My dad's funny. I come from like a funny family, but I always wanted to do creative stuff. I always had my head in stories and books and movies and all that stuff. But I kind of feel like a farce. Like it's not like I'm directing movies or anything. We're just talking. But you're creating stuff that people enjoy listening to and connecting with, so that's cool.
All right, so I've heard a few different times, but you've never kind of like gone in full depth. How many different places have you lived? Like, did you grow up in a military family?
No.
I
like to say we were corporate brats.
Okay.
All right, I lived in New Jersey for 8 years, and then we moved to Australia for 2. Then Illinois is where I went to middle school, and then I did 2 years of high school in Connecticut, then 2 years of high school in California, 2 years of college in California, then back to Connecticut for the next 3 years of college, and then back to California after college, and now back to New Jersey. A lot of places. Moved every like 2-3 years growing up.
What was Australia like? When were you in Australia?
1998 through 2000. It was cool. I mean, I haven't been back. I think I'm the only one that hasn't been back. My little brother was born there, but we moved away when he was 2 months old. I think I'm the only one that hasn't been back in my family. But I'd love to go back. I have a good memory. Australia, it's cool. I don't really know. It's just like it felt like I can't really like place it because I didn't have an adult brain, you know. Mm-hmm. Just like I saw everything through my little kid eyes.
Yeah.
But we lived there for 2 years, and we constantly had family coming, so we did like all the tourist stuff in 2 years. Thinking back on it, it's like, how did I play sports and go to school and like have a life when we were every weekend going somewhere? But I got to go back eventually. Just need to make money. So maybe in 30 years.
30 years? That's the time frame?
Yeah. We're going slow.
Renato, where are you?
I am here.
Did I lose you, Renato?
No. My little nieces and nephews are around, so I want to make okay. Question for you. Yeah. What's it like being a transparent Yankee fan, since you're pretty much a Yankee fan all over the world at this point? So how's it feel like to be like watching the Yankees in like California or in Australia?
Well, it was boring. That's why I started like my Twitter. When I lived in California, let me see. When I lived in California the second time, so I moved in 2014. So I was watching Yankee fans. Like I was living after college. In college, I'd watch with Jake and my buddies. After college, I'd watch with my parents because I was living with them. Eat dinner, watch a Yankee game. You know, it was like every night, rinse, repeat. And then I moved to California. I lived with some friends for a little bit, and I would just watch on the computer by myself. But I was also like drinking, having fun a lot, and all that like stuff. So I could miss a game, which actually is pretty rare. I probably didn't. I moved into my girlfriend's house in 2017. And when that season started, I realized, oh shit, I'm going to be watching these games alone, a lot. And the only person I would talk to was I'd call Jake, I'd call my dad. And then I remember the day I like looked at my girlfriend and I was like, I think I'm going to like try and build up a Twitter so I can talk to people about these games. And I just started live tweeting to no one. And my goal was to get 1,000 followers by the end of the year. And I think I got that within a month. So that was cool. I mean, and that's just what came. But yet, I mean, you know, the weirdest thing is when we went to Florida for spring training. And then when I came back here to New Jersey and I just like had my eye on Yankee stuff more and I would see a Yankee hat and I couldn't be like, oh, Yankees fan, because that's what you do in California. Like I saw a Yankees hat, I'd be like, oh, Yankees fan. Yeah. And half the time they're like, no, I would say Yankee fan or just a hat. And a lot of times they're like, oh, just a hat. And I'm like, all right, I'll leave you alone then. Because if you say Yankees fan, we're going to be talking for a while. But there's Yankee fans everywhere. Like there's a lot of Yankee stuff everywhere. But it's better to be on the East Coast for sure. I got Jake to move back here.
How does it feel watching games at like 4:00 in the afternoon?
Oh, I love it. I think Mountain Time Zone, which Jake is on right now, is the best time zone for sports because 8:00 starts. Like these World Series, 8:00 starts. Fuck that. It's terrible. And then in California, if you work a job in the Bay Area, you'll miss the first hour of every national. When the Warriors are in the playoffs, my buddy, who's a diehard Warriors fan, misses the first hour of every game because he has to drive in traffic. It's terrible. 5:00 starts are bad. So I think Denver has it the best. I do 10 a.m. games. I like those. You just wake up and it's on.
Yeah, and then you have like the rest of your day to like do whatever.
Yeah, especially podcast wise, it was much better being on the West Coast because the game ends at 7 instead of 10 there.
Yeah.
So then me and Jake would record and it's early.
Oh no, you're lucky. You're lucky if it ends at 10. You're lucky.
Yeah. Now I'm up to like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. editing and stuff. You know who does that? Josie McFly. Like that dude, because he edits his videos and stuff every game.
Yeah.
Like we do the podcast at the end of every series. Shout out to Joe's because that dude he grinded like crazy this year. If you follow along at Joe's McFly. If you don't follow, you should. Really good experience to see what it's like at the stadium. And Joe's is an awesome guy. But I texted him one point, like, dude, you're grinding right now. He made me feel like I wasn't doing enough.
Yeah, especially there are times like I feel like we take for granted the ability and this is actually a great transition to what I want to ask you next. I feel like we take for granted the you are the best. You are. I feel like we take for granted like what all the yes coverage does, and especially like their slow-mo shots, and you've talked extensively about that. And the angles they give you, with the perspectives they give you.
Yep.
Josie is able to kind of deliver that analysis while he's at the stadium, and that's pretty awesome. And he does it, like you said, every single night.
Yeah.
From that perspective. And also sitting in the outfield, we've talked about this. We talked about this at the stadium, but sitting in the outfield can't see shit. Can't see shit.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends where you are. Like, first row, right field, second deck. Oh yeah. Like, take it.
I love taking advantage of having some followers on Twitter now, because when I go to a game, I'll be like, how does CC's pitches actually look? Because I can't tell. So then I'll get 10 replies, and I'll try to decipher, okay, that guy's being crazy, that guy's being too nice. Where's he actually look? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why Renato and I this was the first seasons that I kind of bought into regular season tickets. I'll be doing it again next year because I feel like at this point you have to. If you're not working full time like yourself,
get them.
You have to. Especially these next few years. So I'm behind home plate. But I'm all the way up above.
That's still nice. You can see the whole field.
It's beautiful, but they're not behind the home plate ticket prices. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of bleacher sometimes. At least when you buy the package, they're bleacher ticket prices, but with a much better perspective and view on things.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, all right. So in the beginning, I said if baseball needs saving, if you're of that belief that the sport needs saving, especially with this, when you look at old school perspective, new school perspectives, is the game of baseball an old man sport? Blah, 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 blah.
No.
What's your, well, go ahead. What are you going to say?
You can finish the question, and then I'll see if I was lined it up right.
What's your ultimate vision for Talkin' Yanks as a podcast, or even not even as a podcast, but as a brand? I'm going to say that. I like that word, as a brand.
Yeah, it's a good question. Something we had to do when we decided to go full time and all that. And there's some like high benchmarks that we'd like to achieve along the way. But first, we need to get our first goals and all that done. I mean, there's different ways to take it. As a community, we just want to spread the love we want to spread educated love of Yankees baseball.
Educated.
Yeah. And that sounds so douchey, but you know what I'm talking about. And if you're over the age of, let's see, when does college end? If you're over the age of 21 years old and you're still having temper tantrums and screaming and like actually angry, like really angry at an individual player, then like you need to like simmer down. Every young person, I did that. I remember hating Kyle Farnsworth and all that shit. Like, and there's like people confuse passion for like just like rabid like anger, and that like bothers me. Like you can love and live and die with a team and still be rational. Like being a diehard fan does not mean being irrational. And I think we try to balance that. So just trying to just like share the love for the game. Like you said, does baseball need saving? And it's kind of baseball, the sport doesn't need saving. Nothing needs to change around the game. The bat flips are cool. The MLB needs to market better. But I think it's the same for any sport you watch. People need to have a better avenue into the ins and outs of the game. So like, why is he throwing this pitch? That's what I'll do on Periscope when I go live, is I'll just actively talk about what the batter's thinking, what the hitter's thinking, so that people who don't pay attention that closely know like, oh shit, there is a lot going on right here. Because some people just wait for the next pitch and wait for the next pitch and wait for the next pitch. And then when something happens, something will happen. And they don't know anything that's in between that. Now, like some people, that's what I get a lot. It wasn't a goal of mine to make baseball fun for people or anything, or like, man, listen to you talk about it, not bad. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, sometimes I think even the broadcast doesn't want to do that,
right?
Because it's too heavy. So I don't know. There's a long way around that. The goals, I'd love to do a radio show, like a high-ending goals, radio show or play-by-play. Like one of our biggest goals, and I love the Yankees play-by-play, which sucks to not watch them anymore. But if you go to MLB.tv and there's home feed, away feed, fan feed, and the fan feed is Jake and I just like doing play-by-play and bullshitting, that would be fantastic. Do I think that's realistic? I mean, not in the next few years, but maybe after that, maybe a long way down the road. That would be so much fun. But yeah, I mean, the short goal is just build an audience that engages. We don't want an empty audience. Like we don't want just clicks. We want people who when they click play, they listen and they engage and they tweet at us and send emails and all that. And so far, it's been really good. And that's why if you tweet at me, I'll most usually respond, unless it's in the middle of the game and then there's too many. I like the conversation about it all, good or bad.
Right. So you mentioned the fan feed, and that's what I was waiting for, because I've heard you say this before. I've kind of asked you whether it's on Periscope or whether it's on Patreon afterwards, or whether it was just we were hanging out in right field. I really do think that I agree with you in what I was saying, that baseball, the game itself, in terms of its rules and the bat flips and the amount of home runs that are being hit, a lot of people don't like that. I love it. I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of analytics. I'm a big fan of, looking at analytics and not just going with your gut. Again, you're being an educated, smart fan. But in the ways that I feel that it does need saving is because a few years ago, when I wasn't on Twitter and I wasn't into podcasts, I was not into baseball. Like I could not realistically sit down for a 9-inning game for the entire game and be present to Yankees baseball. With the engagement on Twitter, with the live streams, with being with other people, even though you're not with other people. Again, this is no longer realistic for everybody to, go to a bar every single game for a Yankee game. That's just not the world that we kind of live in, or have everybody over every single Friday, Saturday night that the Yankees are on. That's just not the world we live in anymore, because everybody's on social media. Everybody's on some sort of device. So I think that kind of idea, I think it's revolutionary, and I'm absolutely 100,000% rooting for it to happen.
All right. We got you. We got me. We got a couple rooting for it. We'll grow it. Twitter is so underutilized by people because they think of it as social media. And before I started trying to get people to follow me, and I just followed people, like that's the best way to use Twitter. And even my dad, who never used it, I would just watch whatever we were watching, because I lived at home after college for a little. Whatever we were watching, it could be Runaway Bride. I don't know why I chose a movie title that got my speech impediment involved. But as soon as we're watching, I'm like, Dad, watch. If I search this on Twitter, we can see how many people are watching the same exact channel, and they're all talking about it. And if we're watching the PGA Tour and watching golf, like, look, now we have funny people that are making jokes about it. They're pointing out stuff that we are also pointing out. They're like, it seems some people will never accept the internet or like that, because they're just kind of like, they think it's lame. But it's just a community, and it's just like, curate your own news. And if something you don't like keeps popping up, get rid of it and shit like that. But for the most part, it's just a way to someone will see something you didn't see. It's like watching in a giant crowded room, but everyone gets to tell you their opinion quietly at once. Some people will like, I just want to watch and be alone. That's fine too. But I think Twitter's fantastic for that.
Yep. And especially in the days of, this is, again, I think we really take the Yes Network for granted because of how good of a job, especially some of their core guys do. That whenever you have a national telecast that's on Fox or that's on ESPN, Yankee fans are just sitting there saying, what the hell am I watching? This is complete and utter garbage. And you see even like the camera angles, the fact that ESPN, however many billions of dollars that they're worth, can't get a good freaking camera angle at a play at second. Like it's insane. So having that kind of feed. Yeah, go ahead.
It bothers me so much. Why? So like, okay, so we have these programs like Yes, who covers baseball 162 games, and they have the camera technicians, the camera angles, and the camera equipment. Now we're going to go give the biggest games of the year to TBS, which does reruns of sitcoms for 11 months. They do March Madness, and then they do playoff baseball. And we're going to have them do their own camera crew. Go hire out the Yes crew and hire out their cameras and get real baseball coverage, because your replays, who have the director in the booth, the replays are bullshit. Yes Network is, if there's ever, almost every single pitch, they give you the Yes-mo slow-mo, especially dirty breaking pitches, and every other, like even local places just don't do it. And I think a lot of stations, like I think in the Bay Area, maybe like Cincinnati, when they go to that national coverage, it is a bump up. It is nicer coverage than their local channel. But for Yankee fans and Yes Network, and I'm sure there's other, I think the Mets have a good one. I'm sure there's lots of other good ones. It's just like a much lesser quality of production. I'm not talking about the announcers and what they're saying, because I like Joe Buck. I think all those national broadcasters are put in the worst spot ever to have to try and have these rabid teams who have been listening to their own guys all year. Right. Now, you know what I mean? No one's ever going to like those. But just the actual production of ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is so fucking bad They don't show any replays. The in-view interviews, everyone knows they suck. And it's just the mic'd up. Actually, I liked the mic'd up. That's all I like. It's the only thing I like that they do.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. Have the good guys do the big games.
Yep. And I think a lot of people don't feel that attachment. You feel that attachment that you feel with the Yes Network guys. And, again, feel that your idea is what can really be. It could be so good for the sport. And you wonder why people don't watch. It's because people don't feel attached.
Yeah.
So I really think that your idea of a fan feed could really be something that gets a lot of people back into baseball.
Yeah, I think it's like coming there with streaming. But streaming will always have like a negative connotation. And you like when I go on Periscope, you got to hold your phone and then watch the game, right? It should be like just the game. You don't need to see me. No jokes. It's exhausting though. Jake and I did it in spring training because they weren't on TV or the radio.
Right.
So
yes.
we were like, well, let's do play-by-play. It would be a good way to get some people to figure out who we are and all that. And it is so exhausting.
Yeah. All right. I actually we're gonna wrap up quickly. Want to be mindful of your time. Thank you so much for coming on again. I'm thinking about not this year, but I'm gonna be a senior in college next year.
Okay.
So I've never gone on like a spring break.
Oh, you want to go down to Tampa?
I'm thinking about it because I have a week off in March. And I'm thinking about, and my birthday's in March. I always have off for school and on the week of my birthday. So everyone always says that, thank you, Justin, for being born because you have a national holiday and you get a week off for it. So, I'm thinking about it. Going down.
Yeah, it's fun. My first time was last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it worth it? Is it worth doing?
Yeah, I think find some other thing. Yeah, it's worth it. Like the stadium is super cool. It's a really cool vibe. It's cheap. You can walk around everywhere. You find yourself not really paying attention to the game that much.
Yeah.
Like because you're just talking to people and stuff. I think it's definitely worth it. It's just like a fun environment. Everyone's happy and shit like that. You're way closer to the players than you are anywhere else. Like you saw some of the videos we just walked up in Ellsbury and Drury, two funny names now, and Wade. It was Ellsbury, Drury, and Wade and Kratz. That's the foursome we watched take batting practice. Whoa, what a jinx we were, I guess. I never even thought back. I never even thought back on that. What a foursome we watched take batting practice. You can go right up and like watch them. Everyone's kind of weird. They treated it like a library. Like Jake and I were trying to talk, and he's like, shh. Watch your practice. But it's cool. It's cool. I would do some other things around. Make sure you're there for a homestand. And then, or you can go to the Phillies and the Tigers are a car ride away. That's what we did. We're going to try and go the first week and the last week. That's my goal.
You would go down and then come back up and then go back down?
Yeah, it's like a month and a half long. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That when they report, go there for that first week. And then when they end, and then it's like game time, like, okay, this is our team. The storylines are wrapping up. That's what I want to do. We'll see if we can.
All right.
Renato.
Yes, Justin. I'm still here. Don't worry.
You are still here. There's something that I know you want to ask, and something that I need to start getting into as well. So go for it.
So my favorite part that I get to look on your Twitter is the GIFs. I love the in-game GIFs. They are absolutely amazing, especially for a guy like me who works sometimes at night and can't really watch the game. I just follow your GIFs and I'm like, okay, I know exactly what's going on. How do you make them so quickly?
Dude, I mean, I just sit there. I mean, if you've been on Periscope, Justin, you've seen like I just kind of...
You're typing away.
Yeah, I just kind of do it. There's a program I use. I could send it to you. It's pretty easy. It's called Snagit. I had no idea how to make them before 2017. Like no idea. I would say that it's super easy to make it. The only thing is, do you want to turn watching the game into also a job a little bit? Because I have 2 computer screens and then the TV, and I'm doing a lot. So, but it's fun. It's pretty easy. It definitely helped my Twitter take off. I I'd like to say it was some of the tweets, the words as well, but no, it's a grind. It's cool though. I mean, yeah, a lot of people like them. Some people get hate for the in-game gifts.
Really? I love them.
Yeah, some people hate everything you do, no matter what. It's like, why you follow me? There's a lot. There's a lot though. At the end of 2017, I think I was the only one doing like in-game gifts like right away. And then all of last year, this last season, there's a couple other people doing it, which I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like it's definitely going to be a thing that everyone's going to be doing soon. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to. I need to jump on the boat of everybody. I feel like everybody and their mother's now doing Yankee gifts, and that's awesome. But what I need to start doing is not enough people on Giants Twitter, New York Football Giants Twitter are doing it.
Yeah, I tried doing it a little bit with the Giants, but
yeah,
football's a little harder because there's not that much breathing. Actually, there is breathing room. You can do it. I just haven't found a good stream. Well, email me. I'll let you know. I'll give you a guide and all that shit.
Yeah, because really what football I feel is missing and what Talkin Yanks, what my kind of vision for Bleeding Blue is kind of combining and as we keep on recording, I feel like we're getting better with this because we're still relatively new. Bringing that kind of humor, bringing that light-hearted aspect to it, even though I do yell sometimes. Like I yelled last week about people being uninformed, which is nuts. I get more mad at fans and people on Twitter than I do about the actual game, which is bad. I need to stop doing that.
No, I'm the same way. It's really hard to overcome, but I think I did a better job this year. 2017, when I was 2 months in, and I just get into these spats with people, and I was just like, "You're just a troll."
Yeah.
Like, why are you making me so angry? But you're fucking making me so angry. It was like, calm down.
Yeah, like I was just blocked yesterday by another podcast page because I respectfully disagreed with their opinion about Eli Manning. So,
what's your opinion on Eli Manning?
Oh, what's my opinion on Eli Manning? My opinion on Eli Manning is that I love him. He is my only quarterback that I have ever grown up and I've ever seen in a Giants uniform. But Eli Manning is one of the main reasons why the New York Football Giants are not a winning football team right now. It's atrocious.
You think if the pie chart of reasons why the Giants are bad, his is the biggest slice?
It's one of the now if we're talking about on the field.
Yeah, on the field.
Yes, but if we're talking about organizational wise, I do not blame Eli at all because it's not Eli's decision. Like they invested in Eli and that was their choice. It's not, you can't blame Eli for wanting to play well. It's just that the game has passed him. So that's my opinion.
I'd put Eli's slice of pie and the O-line slice of pie at a very similar size. You could give it more to Eli if you want. But I said on the radio show today, how Eli plays quarterback right now is in the first 3 seconds after the snap, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, he just waits to get hit.
His eyes, you could see his eyes where they're at.
And then 6, if he gets to 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, if those are existing, he's looking around like, why the fuck haven't I been hit yet? And then if he clears 6 Mississippi and he gets to 7 Mississippi, then he's like, all right, let's look for some receivers. They're covered by then, and then eventually he misses them.
Yeah. Yeah. An important point I think to bring up too is that I feel like a lot of people don't really appreciate this. After the collective bargaining agreement, a lot of those players from that era, remember there was a lockout, the union they had to write they had to write a new CBA, and that included practice time. So a lot of those players that were a part of that collective bargaining agreement, that time has passed. So there's a lot of new players coming out of college now. Offensive lines, and Bill Parcells says this, offensive lines don't have the preparation time to prepare in training camp and practice and play together like they used to. And especially now they're talking about how they want to shorten preseason. Offensive line play league-wide has gone down. But anyway, I digress. Renato.
Are you handling the Giants tanking well?
Yes, this is actually something we're going to be talking about this week. The ethics of tanking.
Did you want them to win last Sunday?
I want them to win. My heart wants them to win. My mind wants them to lose.
It's a very tough balance.
Yeah.
I saw so many people getting mad, and I'm like, well, you don't want them to win now. They traded pieces away.
You can't get mad. It just has to be like, oh, okay, it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. You want them to do like you want them to drive down and then be a touchdown away from taking the lead.
Yeah.
And Barkley pulls a Todd Gurley and like, no, thank you.
It's like what you said with the Knicks, basically. It's like you were talking on the radio show about the Knicks, and that's basically, I guess, what you want out of the Giants.
Be competitive and lose.
Yeah. All right. So, Renato, do you have any last final statements or thoughts or anything that your heart and mind desires to say?
Let me think. So, just a quick little thought about next season. I know it's already early. We know Red Sox already won the World Series, all that good stuff. Whatever.
Oh yeah, that happened. That totally didn't even cross my mind today. I could care less.
Yeah,
that
like
happened.
Yankees fans are like panic. I'm like, relax. It's one of the.
Yeah, go play New York. I could care less.
Yeah, that happened a week ago in my mind, so I've already.
Me too. What do you think the Yankees need to do in order?
Renato, we're not talking about that.
I got nothing.
I'm cutting you off. All right, you got nothing? Okay. We're not. No. I refuse to talk about that. Like I'm in like vacation. The players need a vacation mode. Okay, my brain and my heart.
Jake and I are diving in Wednesday, and because that's when the Yankees have to make their decision on Brett Gardner, and then Wednesday. Right. Wednesday's show is like officially flipping the page, because we did the 2 episodes of grades and reviews, but I mean, people like that shit. I don't. Like, I just like, Jake, I don't want to do this, but I know people want to do it. Like, once I put something past, like I'm pretty good at mental block.
Yeah.
Fucking not thinking about 2018 at all anymore. Let's move forward. So we're doing that Wednesday.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Renato, anything else that's not related to the 2019 Yankees?
I got nothing.
All right, I stumped you.
You stumped me.
You're welcome. Jomboy.
I get my 4 hours of sleep, so that's
24 hours of sleep? Is that what you just
said? 4 hours of sleep.
Oh, 4 hours of sleep.
I wish I got 24 hours of sleep.
I was like, whoa. Jomboy, final thoughts.
Thanks for having me. It's fun. It's fun to talk about non-Yankee stuff. Like you've said, I got a lot of podcasts, so if anyone's interested in other things, got time to kill. If you're a long-haul truck driver, I got you covered.
There you go. So, for Bleeding Blue this week, there will be a Giants episode. If you're a Yankee fan, you're a Yankee listener, I want to have a Yankees roundtable discussion on like, what should we do in the offseason? So that's going to be a bunch of us. Some people that you haven't heard of yet. David, our co-host for the Giants episode, he's also a Yankees fan, but he hasn't been on a Yankees episode yet. So he'll be on. Boker will be on. Boker says hello. Renato, of course she'll be on. Of course, we'll have Brett Wiley on, and he'll tell us how the Phillies are going to sign Machado and Harper, and that'll be great. So, Jomboy, thank you so much for coming on. Keep up with everything you do. Keep up the vision. Keep up the faith. I know a lot of people, including myself, will be behind you. We'll be supporting you. Go to Patreon. We'll plug everything. Go to Patreon, give your $2 a month for Talking Yanks. Eventually, hopefully Bleeding Blue one day gets to that point where we can do that.
Yeah.
So
that's nice. We fought that for a while, but it's actually people kept saying like, we'll donate, we'll support. And I was like, all right, okay, let's set that up. Just wanted to make it worthwhile to have people do that. It's kind of weird. But it's nice. To everyone that supports, it's incredibly nice.
I am one of those people. All right.
Appreciate it.
So, everybody, keep on bleeding blue. Thank you, Jomboy, and peace out, everyone.
See ya.